25 games without a goal. After telling everybody that you're an NHL player and that you deserve an opportunity and that here's your opportunity and not much is happening. It sounds dumb, but I was playing okay. I was playing a decent role on the team. I just wasn't scoring, and that number was weighing on my head and my brain. And I actually went home it was the 2006 season, 2005, 2006 season. So the Olympics were in Italy, so we had a big break in the middle of the season. And I called my parents, and I enrolled in Lakehead University in Thunder Bay, Ontario, in December, January, and I was like, I think this is it. I'm not going to get another contract.
No way.
I think,
Come on.
And then the night before the Olympics, we played in Anaheim and LA and San Jose, that road trip.
Yeah.
And I was so worked up. You remember how I was? I was all high, low. I was just super low at this time and really stressed out and anxious. And we're in Los Angeles and everybody's just having a great time. And I was like, you know what? I'm in the NHL. I'm with 25 guys that are all my age. We're having a good time. Just enjoy yourself on this trip. And I had some fun with the guys in LA. Got an assist in the game. And then the next night in Anaheim was the final game before Olympic break. And I got a weird bounce, hit me back door. I just scored. And I was like, oh my God, I just scored a goal. Yeah. And then I went back to Thunder Bay for the Olympic break. I enrolled in the university there. And I was sitting in the university hallways because I had to sign some papers and all that. And I'm just looking around come on, you're in the NHL. You're not going to school, man. Let's do this. And I was kind of like the breakthrough moment where I was like, cool. I'm going to finish these next 25 games off and see what happens, and started to play well.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's just it can go either way, and that's kind of the message I want to relay to our prospects is it's not always how fast you can skate or how effective you are on the ice. It's the mental side of things in pro hockey. It's never easy. It's never a smooth ride. There's always ups and downs.
That's right. And you're obviously doing a lot. Like you said you were still playing pretty good. You just weren't scoring. But I know you and how you played. I can't imagine you just floating around doing nothing. You're obviously doing enough to still stay consistent enough to be in the lineup, right? Even though you're not scoring. Mm-hmm. But what kind of advice would you give to these young guys now around that specific thing? Is it just really just about finding ways to be consistent and doing these and smaller things?
Yeah, and find a role with the team.
Find a role, yeah.
I was playing center back then, so I was more of a checking line center.
Right.
That was what was drilled into me in the 3 years with the Phantoms organization. Hitch was the coach with the NHL team, Johnny Stevens with the American League, and I wasn't ready to be a center in the NHL, so they taught me how to play away from the puck. So I was doing all that stuff really well, but when you have 0 goals in 25 games, that's the headline, and that's what you're thinking about. So my advice would be for young players, whatever position, find a role within the team, whatever role that is. Do it effectively. You had a role with the team. Nobody cared if you had a goal or 25 goals. You had your role with the group, and you were keeping everybody safe, and that's what keeps guys in the league. You look at some guys that play 1,000 games in the league, and they're there for a reason, and it takes everybody to build a winning team. So that would be my advice. Find a role and do it as best you can.
Yeah, and that consistency piece. So you're saying once you find your groove and your niche, as you mentioned, 1,000 games. There's a lot of guys that have played a long time and they're maybe fourth line center. I remember Jim Dowd, my first.
Jimmy Dowd.
Yes.
He was in Chicago when I got traded.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
But I mean, obviously a great hockey player, but he accepted his role. He was consistent. Every coach knew what they were going to get out of him. I think for 20 years in the NHL, he was a fourth line center for a bunch of meatballs like myself. You know what I mean? I can't imagine how many.
He had a smile on his face every day.
Always, right? First guy at the rink.
Up at the rink all the time. You knew what you were going to get with him. You need guys like that.
100%.
For sure.
But that consistency piece and finding your groove, because I think a lot of guys struggle with and probably the same thing you're struggling with, a lot of points in college, right? I'm expected to score, and now I'm not, and you're beating yourself up. Yet you're doing a lot of great things from the coach's perspective, right? You have a different lens, now on this side of the fence, right?
100%. Yeah.
Totally different than when you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.